In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful, I seek refuge with Allah from the outcast Satan. Hello everyone, my name is Mahdi and I am here with another Quranic conversation, and this time the topic of our conversation is punishment that Quran prescribes for thieves. Let's look at verse number 31 of chapter 12, and this verse is about Prophet Joseph. So when she heard of their scheming, she sent for them and prepared for them a banquet and gave each of them a knife. So she prepared a party, she prepared a banquet, invited all the noble women of Egypt, and she gave each one of them a knife. And then said to Joseph, said, come out before them. So Joseph comes out before them at this point, and when they saw him, basically when the women, the noble women of Egypt saw him, they greatly admired him. They greatly admired Joseph, and they cut their hands and said, perfect is Allah. This is not a man. So this is none but a noble angel. So as you can see, they see Joseph, they admire him so greatly they can't believe what they are seeing, and that was obviously a grace of Allah on Prophet Joseph. He looked angelic. So however that looks, I have no idea how that looks. But then they cut their hands because it's customary if you are a guest at somebody's house, a noble person, if you get hurt, you cut your hand. It's the servant's job to come and take care of you. So these women wanted Joseph to come and touch them, to come and take care of them, and just touch their wound and those things. So because of that, they cut their own hands so that they would bleed. And by doing so, Joseph, because he was a servant over there, he had to go and basically attend to them. So that was one way to attract Joseph's attention. As a servant, he had to, he had no other option. So this verse, actually, interestingly, as you can see, it's about cutting hand. So these women, there's a group of noble women that they cut their own hand. Quran uses the word قَطَّعْنَ أَيْدِيَهُنْ. It means they cut their hand. Verb that has been used is qatta. So qatta is a very harsh form of cutting. And obviously, Quran uses the word for aydiyahunna means their hands. So it's cutting hands. So it's talking about these women cutting their hands. As you can see, nobody amputates their hand in this verse. So this verse uses the harsher and the stronger form of the word cutting for the Egyptian woman who cut their hands when they saw Joseph. So he actually used qatta'na. A knife used for oranges was used by Egyptian women to cause a minor cut so that Joseph had to take care of their wounded hands. It specifically mentions in this verse that Potiphar's wife gave each of them a knife and an orange, and she asked Joseph to come out. So she did not give them a sword, she did not give them an axe, and obviously nobody, as you can see, amputated their hands, even though the verb implies a much harsher cutting compared to the verse that is being used to justify amputating thieves' hands. So there's no amputation. This is obviously the first Quranic verse. Verse 54 of chapter 12. And the king said, bring him to me. So king sends a messenger to Joseph to bring Joseph back to him, but Joseph says that no, I'm not going to go. Joseph said, return to your master and ask him, what is the case of the women who cut their hands? So what was the circumstances about them cutting their hand? This verse once again uses the harsher and the stronger form of the word cutting for the Egyptian women who cut their hands when they saw Joseph. For the second time, even though a harsher cutting is implied by using the word qatta'na, it still only points to a minor cut inflicted by an orange cutting knife to attract Joseph's attention. Joseph, as a servant, had no other option but to attend to the wounds. Verse number 38 of chapter 5, it says, as for a man or woman who commits theft, cut the hands of both in order to recompense them for what they earn. a deterrent from Allah, and Allah is mighty wise. So this verse, as you all know, has been used to justify the brutal amputation of a thief's hands. So the word that Allah uses here is faqta'u aydiyahuma. It means cut their hands. It's the exact same structure, sentence that was used for the women who cut their hands. Over there it says qatta'na aydiyahun. Here it says faqta'u aydiyahuma. So this is actually the word that used here. Faqta'u is not as harsh as the other word that was used for what is a much milder form. In Arabic, when used that, this is much milder. So it is not talking about amputating anybody's hand. He's talking about a minor cut on the hand of the thief. That's all it's talking about. Even not as deep, even not as harsh, as badly as the women in Egypt cut their hands when they saw Joseph's, even not as bad. So this word is actually much milder. So cutting hands has so many meanings, as you can see, but amputation is definitely not one of them here. The verb aqta'u used in this verse implies a much weaker form of cutting than the word qatta'u, which has been used in other places in Quran. So as you can see, the punishment for a thief is not hand amputation. Allah has not written it anywhere in Quran to amputate somebody's hand. Allah has given us an example and also the same word for the hand, so it doesn't create any sort of confusion. So it actually is a very minor cut on the hand. That is the punishment of someone who steals. I'm just hoping that it is so clear. There is no amputation in Quran. No amputation in Quran. As I mentioned again as a recap, it's only a minor and soft cut inflicted to a thief's hand is intended by this verse. This cut must be even softer than the cut that the Egyptian women inflicted on their hands using kitchen knives to solicit Joseph's care. The verse has nothing to do with hand amputation. So in conclusion, Quran never even mentions amputation of hands, let alone commanding it. Quranic punishment for stealing is a minor and soft cut on the hand. Such a cut will take obviously a few days to heal. It would act as a sign by which other people can recognize and be wary of the thief. It will also leave a permanent mark for repeat offenders who keep on stealing. So if someone steals 2-3 times, they're going to have 2-3 marks on their hands. The benefit of this is that community can easily recognize repeat offenders and be deterred. Having said that, we are at the end of another Quranic conversation. So I hope that you learned and benefited from this Quranic conversation. Until next time, God bless. May Allah keep you all safe, and hopefully we'll talk soon.